Hey everyone, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel. Today let's talk about the four arts of the Chinese scholar guqin, qi, shu, and hua. Collectively known as the four accomplishments of the refined or four elegant pursuits, these were essential cultural skills for educated individuals in ancient China. When we think of antiquity, these arts immediately come to mind. First, why are these four? In ancient China, a true scholar or refined gentleman needed to understand music to express emotion, which corresponds to the qin. He needed to master strategy, possess wisdom, and understand advance and retreat, which corresponds to qi. He needed to write beautifully, expressing thought and aesthetic sense, which corresponds to shu. He also needed to paint, depicting the world and conveying sentiment, which corresponds to hua. These four arts covered the four major realms of sound, thought, text, and imagery, essentially forming the entire spiritual pillars of the ancient intellectual world. They were not merely skills, they carried profound philosophical thought, aesthetic taste, and life wisdom. The ancients believed that mastery of these four arts was necessary to be considered a truly cultivated, tasteful, and enlightened person. Therefore, they endured for millennia, always occupying the pinnacle position of traditional Chinese culture and art. Guqin. The qin ranked first among the four arts does not refer to the piano or guitar, but specifically to China's oldest and most culturally rich instrument, the guqin. It usually has 7 strings, hence also called the seven-stringed zither. It was the ancient scholar's sole companion and philosophical voice. The sound of the guqin pursues not loudness or brilliance, but qing, wei, dan, and yuan. Players focused on self-cultivation, using the music to converse with nature and their inner selves. The environment for playing was also important, ideally in a quiet mountain forest, bamboo grove, or an elegant room, with a stick of incense burning. The most famous piece for the guqin is undoubtedly High Mountains and Flowing Water. This piece has an incredibly touching story behind it, which is also the origin of the saying High Mountains and Flowing Water, meeting a true friend who understands the music. During the spring and autumn period, there was a supremely skilled musician named Yu Boya. One day, while playing his qin in the mountains, a woodcutter named Zhang Ziki passed by. Upon hearing the music, he spontaneously exclaimed, "Ah, how magnificent! Towering and majestic, your ambition lies in the high mountains." Meaning Boya's mind was focused on lofty peaks. Boya was astonished. No. He then played another passage, and Zhang Ziki said, "Vast and expansive, your ambition lies in the flowing water." Meaning he was now focused on rushing streams. Boya was overjoyed because Zhang Ziki completely understood the artistic conception within his music. He was a true soulmate who understood his heart. Later, when Zhang Ziki passed away, Boya was heartbroken. He played one final piece before Ziki's grave and then smashed his beloved qin, believing there was no one left in the world who could understand his music. This story made High Mountains and Flowing Water an eternal masterpiece, symbolizing friendship and spiritual connection. Another famous piece is 3 variations on the plum blossom, which uses music to praise the character of the plum blossom blooming proudly amidst the harsh winter. The music simulates the plum blossom's swaying posture in wind and snow and its resilient spirit, expressing the Chinese ideal of maintaining noble integrity in adversity, the character of a gentleman. The guqin uses simplicity, even leaving space, to give infinite room for imagination. After one note, there might be a long pause, allowing you to feel the lingering resonance and imagine the sound of wind, water, or birdsong. It's like appreciating an ink wash painting. The blank space is a part of the artwork. Many foreigners hearing the guqin for the first time might find it too quiet, but once they calm their minds, they are often awed by its profound and ethereal mood. A Swiss musician once described the sound of the guqin as like the morning mist in the Alps, invisible and intangible, yet bringing a sense of peace and comfort to one's entire being. It plays not just sound, but also state of mind and the cosmos. Wakey, it is possibly the world's oldest board game, with the simplest rules, yet the most complex and profound. It requires only 2 things, a board marked with 19 horizontal and 19 vertical lines, creating 361 intersection points, and black and white round stones. In the eyes of the ancients, this small space was a model of the entire universe. The board is square, symbolizing the earth. The stones are round, symbolizing the heavens. The black and white colors represent yin and yang. The 361 points subtly correspond to the number of days in the lunar calendar year. The process of playing Go simulates a bloodless war, an ultimate contest of wisdom, strategy, patience, and vision. When two players face each other, the board becomes a battlefield, pregnant with infinite possibilities. The ancients truly treated playing Go as life cultivation. Wang Jixin, a Tang Dynasty Go master attendant, summarized key principles like attack the opponent while securing your own position and sacrifice stones to seize the initiative. The former means attacking the opponent's weak groups on the side while strengthening your center. The latter means deliberately letting the opponent capture 2 stones to seize a key global point. This embodies Taoist dialectical thinking. The fierce Three Kingdoms General Sun Ce was playing Go with his strategists the night before a major battle, demonstrating remarkable composure. His game records are still studied today. Tang people called playing Go hand conversation, meaning thoughts and hearts could communicate without words through the placement of stones. A contest between masters is like a duel between martial arts experts in a wuxia film, seemingly calm on the surface, but with powerful undercurrents beneath. One brilliant move, like the Dao Tuozu, could make the opponent slap the table in admiration or frustration. The Japanese warring state's warlord Takeda Shingen used Go to admonish his retainers. Greedily eating 3 stones leads to losing by 20 points, meaning obsession with small local gains can cause catastrophic global defeat. Another reason for Go's enduring popularity is its deceptively simple rules. A child can learn how to play stones in minutes, yet many spend a lifetime without mastering its depths. Its number of possible game variations exceeds the number of atoms in the universe, filled with infinite possibilities. For many, it is not just a game. It embodies Eastern philosophical wisdom. It emphasizes balance. An evenly matched game is the most exciting. It teaches sacrifice. You must give up to gain. It requires a broad perspective. You cannot focus only on immediate small gains. It demands patience. A single game can last a very long time. Winning by just a little is called winning by half a point, equivalent to an advantage of half a grain of rice. Losing by a lot can be self-deprecatingly called a strategic adjustment. Go is an excellent way to exercise the mind and temper one's character, which is why it remains popular from ancient times to the present day. Shufa. In China, writing transcended mere utility to become a vast and profound art. Its tools are simple: brush, ink, xuan, paper, and inkstone. Yet its expressive power is boundless. Chinese calligraphy is not about who writes the most uniformly, but about conveying the writer's emotions, temperament, cultivation, and aesthetic sense through the thickness, lightness, wetness, dryness, speed, turns, pauses, and emphases of the lines. It is like dancing, singing, or even practicing martial arts on paper with a brush. Speaking of calligraphy, one must mention the sage of calligraphy, Wang Shizi. His masterpiece, the preface to the poems composed at the Orchid Pavilion, is hailed as the #1 running script under heaven. Interestingly, this peerless work is said to be a draft written when he was drunk after a gathering of scholars. He and his friends were playing the floating goblet game by a stream at the Orchid Pavilion. A wine cup floated downstream, and whoever had stopped before had to drink and compose a poem. Slightly intoxicated, Wang seized the moment and wrote this preface. When he sobered up, he could never recapture the same divine essence. What does this show? It shows that true artistic masterpieces are often the result of inspiration and emotion flowing naturally. Deliberate imitation loses the genuine flavor. Calligraphy has several main styles, like different personalities. Kishu is like a gentleman sitting upright. Horizontal strokes level, vertical strokes straight, structure rigorous, clear, and easy to read. A representative is the work of Tang Dynasty master Yan Zhenqing, whose characters are robust, grand, and full of strength. Xingshu is between Keishu and Keoshu. It is both fluid and lively, yet relatively easy to recognize. It resembles a carefree, elegant scholar, moving with grace and poise. Song Dynasty master Su Shi's poem on the Cold Food Festival is a masterpiece of Xingshu, filled with surging emotions. Koshu is the wild mode of calligraphy. Strokes are continuously connected, like dragons flying and phoenixes dancing, full of passion and speed. The Tang Dynasty monk Waizu was a great master of Kyoshu. His autobiography is written with exhilarating fluency, sparks flying. Achieving excellence in calligraphy demands total concentration, unity of mind and hand, and steady breathing. Every stroke must be controlled, powerful, and rhythmic. There's a Swiss animal ophthalmologist named Jan Enlin who has practiced calligraphy for over 30 years. He says it makes his hands as steady as a rock when performing delicate eye surgeries like on hamsters. A New York banker named John says that whenever the stock market crashes and he feels irritable, he practices calligraphy, especially copying the Heart Sutra. He finds it more effective than seeing a psychologist. his heart calms down afterward. Practicing calligraphy emphasizes techniques like an owl drawing in sand and leaking roof traces. The process itself is like practicing yoga or tai chi, releasing pressure and returning one to tranquility. Hua refers to Chinese painting, especially traditional ink, wash painting. Chinese painting does not pursue photographic realism like Western classical oil painting. It seeks spiritual likeness over physical accuracy and artistic conception over realism. Simply put, it doesn't aim to paint exactly what something looks like, but to paint its essence, to capture a feeling, to evoke imagination and resonance. The greatest skill of a Chinese painter is expressing the richest meaning with the most economical brush and ink. Look at Kibeishi shrimp. Just a few ink dots and lines outline the shrimp on paper. Not a drop of water is painted. Yet, you can almost see them swimming and playing in clear water. Look at Shubahong's horses. They are bony and lean, but their posture, heads thrown back neighing, is full of power and longing, making you feel they are about to burst out of the picture the next second. Chinese painting is mainly divided into several major categories. Landscape painting is the centerpiece. It's not just painting scenery. It's the painter's idealized world, embodying reverence for nature and longing for a reclusive life. The Northern Song genius teenager Wang Zemin created 1,000 li of rivers and mountains at the age of 18. Using precious mineral pigments like azurite and malachite, he painted a continuous, magnificent, and brilliantly colorful 1,000-mile landscape, grand and dazzling, hailed as the pinnacle of blue-green landscape painting. Flower and bird painting depicts flowers, plants, insects, fish, birds, and animals. The late Ming, early Qing painter Boda Shanren, a descendant of the Ming imperial family, painted fish and birds that often had upturned, bizarre-looking eyes. This was actually his way of expressing dissatisfaction with Qing rule, and his inner pride and resentment through painting, using silent white eyes to speak. Figure painting depicts human figures. The exquisite murals in the Dunhuang Mogao grottos, especially the images of Facian with their fluttering ribbons, graceful postures, and soaring flight, are iconic examples. Chinese painting is full of imagination and artistic conception. It invites the viewer to participate in the creation. The painter paints a mountain, a cloud, and leaves large amounts of blank space for the viewer to fill with their own imagination. What that blank space represents is something many people ponder. This sense of interaction is very unique. Moreover, its tools and materials themselves, the brush, ink, shuan, paper, and water, create marvelous effects. Ink diffusing on the absorbent paper forms variations in density, dryness, and wetness. This element of uncontrollable accidentality precisely produces unexpected beauty. Many Western viewers seeing this effect liken it to their impressionist paintings full of hazy poetry. An Australian principal once recounted teaching foreign children Chinese painting. One child simply dabbed a few random red ink spots to represent lychees, but the resulting ink blurt effect caught the eye of a gallery owner who wanted to buy it. Because that natural, innate charm cannot be deliberately painted, Qin, Qi, Shu, and Hua became pillars of traditional Chinese culture. There are reasons why these four arts endured. First, profound philosophical depth. They were not just skills, they were vivid embodiments of core Chinese philosophical thoughts, Confucianism, Taoism, and Chan Buddhism. The guqin centrality, harmony, and balance reflect the Confucian doctrine of the mean. Go's interplay of yin and yang manifests Taoist wisdom. Calligraphy and painting's emphasis on spirit resonance and conception preceding the brushstroke are full of Zen spirit. Second, powerful self-cultivation function. The core purpose for the ancients practicing these arts was self-cultivation and character refinement. Playing the qin calmed the heart. Playing Go trained the mind. Practicing calligraphy tempered the will. Painting refined the emotions and nurtured sensibility. They were like the ancient scholars' mental gymnasium and spiritual sanctuary. Third, unique aesthetic system. Together, they shaped the distinctive Chinese aesthetic pursuit of subtlety, blank space, artistic conception, and spirit resonance. They did not pursue external complexity or realism, but internal, spiritual expression and infinite imaginative space. This aesthetic profoundly influenced the entire East Asian cultural sphere. Fourth, transcendent, timeless appeal. Truly great art can surpass language and cultural barriers. Today, these traditional arts are increasingly receiving public attention. Music knows no borders. Art knows no borders. The four arts are by no means mere old relics in a museum. They are the crystallized wisdom of thousands of years of Chinese people using art to explore the world, express their inner selves, and cultivate themselves. I am Amber. Catch you next time.